Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Sierra and I do beauty, fashion, and lifestyle videos. I have a goal to get monetized by the end of the year. This is where we are right now. We got a long way to go, but I believe that we can do it. Liking, commenting, and subscribing really helps this channel grow, so if you guys could do that, you're the best, but if not, it's totally okay, no pressure. Okay, so today's video is definitely more on the serious note. I am not a licensed therapist. I am not claiming to be. This is all just my personal experience. The reason I'm making this video is because I want to be more open with you guys, and I also want to share my experience for other people because it's not fun. And if you could have a warning about all of this, please take it because it really sucks. I'm just going to be sharing my personal experience, what I've been through, how I got out of it. So as you guys know, there are different types of abusive relationships. These are what they are. So today we are only going to be discussing the one that I personally went through. But if you guys want to learn more about each different type of abusive relationship, I will have the link that I got all this information from down below. That way you guys can read up on more, or if you're going through something else, you can read about it. So personally, I was in a mentally abusive relationship when I was 14. If you guys were wondering what I looked like at 14 years old, here's a picture. I am not that girl anymore. Ugh, jeez. I haven't even started yet with the crap. That was triggering for some reason. Just to tell you guys a little bit about myself when I was 14, I was the biggest goody two-shoes who ever existed. I was like overly nice to where people took advantage of me a lot. I would do anything in the world for anybody. And sadly, how this world is today, when you're like that, it doesn't work very well for you. Honestly, this circumstance is just the first thing that's happened to me of a lot of things that I've been through that's really just torn me down. Back to the story. That's what I look like. I was 14 years old. The guy that I dated who was mentally abusive, I'm not going to say his name, obviously, so we're just gonna call him B. He was my very first boyfriend. I've never been in a relationship before. And I actually started dating him when I was in 5th grade. That was our first relationship, and it was not good. And not in like a bad way, it was just that we were so young and like he didn't even talk to me. Like he was so nervous around me. It was kind of cute, but like he was so nervous that he couldn't talk to me. It got to a point though, it was annoying, and like he wouldn't even sit next to me. How are you gonna be in a relationship with somebody if you don't talk to them? So I ended up breaking up with him when I went to public school for the first time. If you guys didn't know, I was homeschooled until 6th grade. He was my very first relationship, and then when I was in 8th grade, I decided that I wanted a boyfriend. So I basically tracked him back down and started going out with him again. Things were really great. He was my first kiss, he was my first I love you, he was my first, I mean, everything but the thing, if you know what I mean. And I loved him so much, and we got along great for like the first few months. This video is gonna be so long if I tell this entire story, so I'm just gonna cut to the part where things started to get bad. We did really well, everything was fun, he seemed like such a sweet guy until we started fighting literally all the time. Every single day we fought. I didn't even have a phone. I had like this little cord phone that connected to like a stand, and I had to go into my mom's closet and lay on the floor and just talk to him because I couldn't go anywhere without the cordless phone. It was like those days. Okay, I'm kind of old. While we continue going through this, please bear with me. I haven't really thought about all of this in a very long time. Obviously, it's a little traumatizing. I don't like thinking about it, but I'm going to and talk to you guys about it because it's important, and it's something that happened in my life, and it's something that made me who I am today. So, boom. Let's continue. So how I'm gonna structure this video is I'm gonna tell you guys something that I think is a sign of being mentally abusive, and then I'm going to give an example that he did to me just to give you like a real life kind of circumstance. Okay, so the first sign that I realized he was mentally abusive was that he blamed me for everything. Any fight we ever had, didn't matter what it was, and most of the time it was because of his insecurities, but it was my fault. But the first example is when we were actually at the high school and we were sitting on the bleachers. It was me, B, one of my friends that was like a guy friend, and I think somebody else. I don't really remember. I know that my friend was there. That was a guy. We were all talking and laughing, having a good time, and I did something that was so stupid, and I was so awkward and quirky and weird. I literally was just trying to make people laugh, and I went like this, right, and locked my fingers, and I stood up and I went like, whoo, like that, right? I was dumb. It was silly. We laughed. It was fine. Well, he got so mad at me and called me a whore, and I was like, what? I started crying, I started freaking out. I was like, oh my god, you just called me like a bad word, like what? You know, because I didn't cuss, I didn't do anything. I don't remember all that happened. All I remember is just kind of like little spots, but I remember him eventually, like, we were to the side of everybody, and I asked him, I was like, why did you call me that? And he was like, because you were shaking your butt in front of everybody. And I was like, that's not what I was doing. I was being silly. I was trying to be funny, you know? But in his mind, I was trying to be all of this thing. Like, that's not who I was. That's not who I am now. Like, I would never do that. He was like, but don't you see what I mean? Like, I know you're upset, but don't you see what I mean? I'm like, no. I said, no, I do not see what you mean. I am not that. I was like, you're the only person I've ever dated in my life. How am I a whore? Like, what? Like, I doubt anybody else, like, even saw that. It was just all in his head. So the second sign that he was mentally abusive was that I had to tell him every single detail of my entire day, of everybody I talked to, and especially guys. Oh my god, he'd freak out if I didn't tell him about a conversation. Because sometimes, like, I would honestly forget about, like, something I said in the conversation, or something in the conversation, or just anything, the conversation in general, and then I'll say, oh yeah, you know, and I forgot to tell you that, and then he would think I was cheating on him because I like, intentionally forgot to tell him. No, I just forgot. I'm sorry that I'm not perfect. You know what? No, I'm not sorry. Nobody's perfect, okay? Okay. Okay, so one example of something that he did with this was, there was this guy in my class when I was in 9th grade that I had a crush on in middle school. This was before I got back together with B, and it ends up that he was in my class, and I was like, oh my god, this is weird. Like, I've always wanted to be in his class, and now that I have a boyfriend, like, I'm in this guy's class. I mean, that's just kind of crazy, like, circumstances. So I ended up telling him because I didn't want to keep anything from him, and, you know, it was just saying, hey, there's this guy in my class. I used to have a crush on him, but, like, he never talked to me anyway, so it's fine. But there was one time that he had a conversation with me. He talked to me sometimes in class, like, he just did, and it was fine. If I didn't tell B about every single dang word of that conversation, he would get so mad. There was nothing going on. I mean, I'm not a cheater at all. Like, I would never even think about doing it, but it was just the fact that I used to kind of like him that just put him off, and he didn't like him talking to me. He didn't like him looking at me or anything. And he would ask me, he was like, did you talk to him today? And I was like, no. Like, no, like, you know, if I talk to him, I'll tell you. You know, it was like, it was just kind of it was a bad situation. So the third sign for me that I could tell he was mentally abusive was that he would have waves of being super happy and then just being an asshole. It was like by day. Beginning of the day, he was great, and then some point in the day, he was like really, really bad, and then he was great the rest of the day. And it was so frustrating. That's how we just fought every single day, because he'd always have these mood swings, and he'd always be up and down every single day, and like, I couldn't predict when he was actually mad or when he was kidding or what. I was just confused all the time. I think it's a great way to spot it if you're in a relationship and you're just constantly confused. And like, I didn't know, because it was my first relationship, you know, like, this is what it's supposed to be like. No, honey, it's not supposed to be like that, okay? You don't fight every single day. No, I just did not know. I'm telling you, if you are fighting every single day with your boyfriend / girlfriend and they just constantly blame you for stuff, like, get out, just leave, like, please, like, don't stay. It sucks. So an example of one of his waves was one time, this is when my mom was finished. Like, my mom didn't like him. Sometimes she did, sometimes she didn't. But after this, she was done, okay? Done. And I don't blame her. I should have been done too, but I was like, oh my god, I forgive you. Like, no, she was finished. We went to a lake. We were with both of our families. We were having like the time of our little lives. We had been fighting in the past, obviously. This is when we were fighting every day, and I had asked him, because I was just trying to fix our relationship. I was like, holy crap, let's fix it. Let's fix it. Like, I want this to work. I asked him, I was like, okay, what do I need to do when you're mad at me to make you not mad at me and to talk to me? Like, what do I do? And he was like, just be like your cute little self and say, oh my gosh, I'm so so sorry. Like, can we please work this out? Let's just have a good rest of our day. And he was like, and if I'm still mad after that, I'm trying to be an a-hole. I was like, okay, cool. Thank you. Let's do that. We were at the lake. I don't even know why he got mad at me. I don't even remember. It doesn't even really matter. I don't think it was that big of a deal and he was just getting irritated. I was like, I don't want to do this. So I went up to him. I was like, I'm sorry. Like, can we please just like work this out or whatever? He did not say a single word to me. He turned around and he walked away. And I said, okay. I got so mad because I was like, because now I had him like pinned. So you were trying to be a beauty hole. I win. Ha, suck it up, apologize. So I started being like sassy to him and like cold, and I like laid next to his mom to tan. And he walks up to me with an open Pepsi can and pours it on me and goes, whoops, and walks away. The level of disrespect. Even his mom like screamed at him, like, it was not good. So after that, my mom was done. I do not blame her. Me and B worked it out. He said he was sorry. I said it's okay. It wasn't okay, but I said it's okay. So number 4 of why he was abusive was he always did things that I didn't like. On purpose, like just to get a rise out of me, and that's just so unhealthy. But one example of that was, I don't remember what he did, and I'm sorry. I don't know if he just pushed me too hard or like we were just playing, but I ended up pulling his hair because he got me a little mad. And I'll admit that I pulled it a little too hard. I'll admit that because I got a little heated, and that's why I knew that I was like, okay, I pulled it a little too hard. I get that. But the level of anger that came out of him was ridiculous. He got so mad at me. He stopped mid-fight, mid-play fight, got up and walked into his room, slammed the door and locked it. So I go to the door and I'm just like, hey, like, I'm sorry, you know, like, I got a little out of hand, I pulled you too hard, I'm sorry. He wasn't having it. I didn't really know what to do because he didn't want to talk about it, he didn't want to work it out, he just wanted to be mad, and I was like, okay. So I just sat in his living room waiting on him. I would like to remind you guys, I thought cussing was the biggest thing. Like, I did not cuss. I did not even say sexy. Like, I was so like pure and not okay with that stuff. He comes out of the room and starts cussing me out and goes, I don't remember the first part, but he said something like, you can either apologize to me or you can get the out of my house. Me and my 14-year-old self was shook, okay? And I got up and I left. I walked straight out of the house. I said, okay. I'm sorry, I gotta laugh at this because this is kind of funny. I couldn't drive, I didn't have a car, so I just walked out of his house and I was like, I'm on my way. And I just wanted to give us some space, you know, because I was heated and I didn't know what that feeling was because I never got mad at anybody, but I was like so upset. And he came out and like chased me down. It was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, no. I was like, that is not okay. I was like, I already apologized to you and you come out, you say that to me. He was like, I'm sorry, it won't happen again. That's another thing. They always say it won't happen again. They fix it for like a day or two, maybe even a week. Maybe even a week if you're lucky, and then they start doing it again, and he was the worst for that. We ended up making up and I went back inside and we had a fine rest of the day, but it's just the way he knew that I didn't like cussing and he knew that I would get upset about that, and he did it, and he cussed me out. And there was no reason to do that. So those are some of the things that I noticed that he did, especially looking back now, because when you're in it, it's different. I was in that relationship for a week from a year. So it was 1 week before our 1-year anniversary and I wanted to wait it out. I was like, I just want to say that I dated my boyfriend for a year. And my godmother is the one who convinced me to break up with him. And so I called him and I broke up with him. My mom said she had a newfound respect for me after I did that because he was just screaming at me and upset and like, he was like, I don't care. And then he'd like get really sad. Like he was just so crazy of emotions, and like she said I handled it really well. But one thing that I will say is everything happens for a reason. That relationship made me stronger. It made me become the person that I am today, and I love myself today. I don't let people walk all over me anymore. There's a point that I have now where I'm done, where before I didn't care. I just wanted to love people, and that's just not how the world works, and I've had to learn that. Another thing that relationship did, it made me appreciate the boyfriend that I have now so much. Like, I'm going to start crying again because he is so amazing, and he's everything I've always wanted from every other relationship I've ever been in. You know, he treats me with respect. He treats me the way that I should be treated, and if I ever have a problem with anything, he does everything in his power to fix it and to make me feel loved, and I could not thank him enough for that, and that's the way that it's supposed to be. Oh, right now we are... What? Stop it! Stop it, Tiaz. You've shown yourself already. He's also had a little bit of a past with relationships that were very manipulative, and so we've had to really come together and communicate about things and talk about how we feel. We have a lot of previous wounds. And if you guys want me to do a video on how we work with our relationship, leave a comment down below because I would love to do something like that. I honestly kind of have a video like that planned, but I want to know if you guys actually want to see that. But one last thing I would like to say before ending this video is that if you watched this, first of all, good job on looking at your situation and realizing that there's a problem. If any of those things that I said is something that you can relate to, I can't force you to do anything. Nobody can force you to do anything. But just look at who you're with and how you feel. And not just the ups. Look at the downs. Look how devastating things are when you are in your down. Know that there's somebody out there who's gonna treat you with respect. And if he or she doesn't, then that's not the person for you. That's not your person. Enough waterworks for today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful in any way at all. I post videos every single Thursday at 11 a.m. Usually they're not this serious. They're kind of more fun. But if you would like to subscribe, please do it. That would mean the world to me. Also hit the bell so you'll never miss an upload. And yeah. So I will see you guys next Thursday. Bye.